So I'm going to show you how to make a full game in a single day. So it starts right here working with these prompts, and these prompts are designed in a sequence that will help you correctly set up your game and then correctly test and iterate on it. It is important that you go in the correct order that this has been set up in, because it's designed to help you first correctly structure your game that will save you both time and tokens later on. So the first thing, we're going to actually define what's known as the core loop. And the core loop is what the player actually is going to do in the game. Without a core loop, you really do not have a game. So we're going to open this generator here, and we're going to start by putting in information. So I filled out the information for the genre of the game, that single player, it's open-ended, who the player is for, what the player is trying to accomplish, what are the obstacles, any twists, how the player progresses through the game. And now I'm going to generate my core loop. So from that, it's generated information about the game, with the core fantasy, what the player does, the overall idea of how the player should progress. So this is all very important for creating an actual playable game, not just a empty prototype. So we're going to copy this, and this is the first item that's going to go inside of Claude. So next we're going to go with the architecture and the engine. So I have Three.js, Unity, Godot, and Unreal. Most new games should go Three.js. If you know what you're doing, you can go Unity. So we're going to go to the Three.js. All right, so now that's brought me here, I can select a few options that I want. If you don't know what you're doing, leave this blank, but I know for me this is a Node.js game, and this will not be, they will not have a shared live state for this game, and it will have to work in the browser. So I'm going to copy in this prompt, and this prompt now also goes inside Claude here. So we have now 2 prompts inside Claude, and we need 1 more. Now, the backend is mostly optional. If you are a Unity, Unreal, or Godot game, you probably don't need one for the most part. If you're a web game, you most likely do need one to actually protect your game and how people will play it. So I'm going to click on create the backend here. It already has the information about my game, which is cool. And then I'm going to, again, choose Three.js. I'm going to have a Node game. Let's have it be Next.js. Remember, if you don't know, you can just leave this blank. And I want it to be for the web. And then I'm going to just copy and paste this, and then this goes inside Claude, and I have my first prompt that I'm doing. So now I just click go and let Claude do its thing. So for the next part in our game development, we're going to establish a visual standard. This is critically important if you want your game to be consistent in how it looks. So just come over here, and we're going to copy the prompt. Now we're going to go over the codecs. So we can paste the prompt in codecs for our project, but also I've uploaded to artwork and gameplay from a different game. And the reason why I'm doing this is because what the prompt is going to do is going to establish a standard and a rubric based upon that artwork. So what I'm doing is I'm telling Codex to review the artwork and the prompt, and then establish a score from 1 to 10 on all the aspects of the artwork and how to rate the quality of artwork. And later we're going to use that rubric to compare artwork that it produces and how it can improve the artwork, and most importantly, where to improve it. Now that has been set up, we need to implement how our game is going to deal with assets, meaning the animation, music, icons, everything else. You can't just put it in your game. You actually want to set up a pipeline for how your game will produce LODs, how it will handle compression, and other important performance optimizations. So with that, there's actually 3 prompts that we want, and we're going to place this into Claude. The first prompt is building an optimized asset pipeline. So I'm going to come here. I can leave this blank, or I could choose Three.js. People will play it on the desktop and web. So I want to optimize for both of those, and I will let AI figure out these items here. Copy and paste the prompt, and I'm going to put that prompt right in Claude. The second prompt I'm going to have it do is analyze the media. What's most important about this prompt is it's going to actually look at what kind of sound effects your game should have and structure a library potential library around the sound effects that should be in your game. So later on, you can easily put this in. And then the third thing we're going to establish is the optimized media pipeline for audio, video, and other assets on how those assets are going to be served. So we're going to put all that inside Claude 2, and then we're going to tell Claude to implement all of this for the current game. So after Claude has done that, then we're going to hop back the codecs again. So after Claude has established the pipelines and media and how it handles media, then we're actually going to implement some artwork. So we're going to come here and copy and paste this prompt after we fill out the questions. You don't really need to fill this out unless you want to focus on creature, characters, prop. I'm going to let AI just handle all this on its own. And then I noticed here I have my 11 Labs API key. What I'm telling it to do next, I'm going to tell it to create the sound effects using 11 Labs API, and also now to create the initial graphics using Blender and implement it in the game. And that should now create your initial sound effects, sounds, music loops, along with the initial game animation that you have. All right, so after that is done, we've come to our big moment. We are now going to implement the game. Now there's actually two things to implement here. First, it's the actual playable game. Make sure everything is wired up according to the core loop and all the docs we've created. But then there's also the onboarding process. If you don't have an onboarding process, you don't have a game yet. So we're going to first implement the game. Just copy and paste this prompt right into Claude. And then we're going to do the onboarding process prompt here. So come down here, choose any options that are currently in the game. I'm going to put not built because it's not built yet. Decide how you want the player to interact and what onboarding options it should actually consider. And when you're done, just copy and paste that prompt also into Claude. And then tell Claude to make my game. And then Claude will now create the first round of your actual game. So pretty much if you follow these steps, you will end up with a game that is playable. It will have an actual core loop, so users can not only interact with the game, they can actually do something towards a certain goal that you have set up inside the game. And you have basically your first demo ready to go in about a day. Now you just need to expand on it.